Let me show you how to add more square footage to your chicken run for less than $20. And this is so easy that any of you can do this too. Now the whole reason I'm showing you all this stuff is I really think my chickens have plenty of room already. However, every now and then they like to get on top of each other. Maybe it's how they normally act as chickens, but for me, I want to add some more room to my chicken run, and I really don't want to have to add on to my chicken run. So in order for me to add more square footage without basically having to build onto my chicken run, I'm actually going to build up. So here's kind of my whole thinking and my whole logic behind what I'm about to show you. See, you may not be able to add more square footage, but if you can get them off of each other, you can actually be adding more square footage per chicken to actually be able to walk on. And the more space your chickens actually have in order to be able to walk around, the happier they'll be, and it also means they'll lay a lot more eggs for you too. All right, that's enough of me talking. Let me show you what we're gonna do. All right, so what you need is one 4x4, and yes, they come 8 foot tall. So that also means I'm probably gonna have to cut some of mine off because my chicken run is actually only about 5 feet tall. So once we get this cut off, what we'll do is we'll actually make it flush to the top. And when we come down here to the bottom, we're actually gonna have to dig a little bit lower. That way the bottom is secure, and we will bolt the top of the actual 4x4 to the top of this chicken run. All right, so hopefully that made sense. You can see these beams going across underneath my chicken run here. We're gonna have that 4x4 screwed in up here. We're also gonna have to dig a little bit lower to make sure that thing's nice and secure and doesn't have any wiggle room on it. That way this thing don't accidentally fall off and actually unalive a chicken. All right, so let's get these chickens out of the way so I can go in there and actually do some work, get this thing cleaned up and ready to start this whole process. All right, now I've got all this tilled up and everything else. This time I freshen it up with some First Saturday Lime. No, I'm not sponsored, but I do believe in it. And I'll finish tilling that up and getting it all worked into the soil or all this sand. So now what I'm gonna do is actually set this up against here and actually picture that I need to cut this off about 5 inches too tall, but I'm gonna go about 5 inches into the ground inside the chicken run. Actually, so what I'm gonna do is actually mark this with what I'm gonna use to cut. Might go a little bit higher than that. So what I've done is I've marked this with this tool that I'm gonna use to cut it with, and I'm gonna actually cut it right now. All right, just a little pro tip here. If you actually do this, you wanna make sure you do this further away from your water source, especially if you have one of these little bell waterers. They'll actually find a way to get dirt in there, and so if you're actually going to build something for them to actually be on, like roosting bars and everything else, you want to make sure those are farther away because that will actually collect a lot of dirt really fast. So if you do this, make sure it's about 5 feet or further away from it, not just right there beside their watering system. And you can see this line right here, this little stud. I might actually attach this 4x4 to this. I'm gonna get about right here. I feel like that's far enough away from everything. I'm actually gonna dig the first spot here for it, and hopefully it'll be just right. Now I got my 4x4. See if I've dug this low enough. And if not, it's okay. I'll make it low enough. So close. All right, let's see. That's it. There we go. Now we're just backfilling all this up. And this is actually pretty good. I ain't even screwed it in yet. All right, so now this thing is nice and secure. This whole thing is shaking this. So me shaking this lets me know that it's secure. I pulled on it from the bottom, and it's not moving down there either. All right, so let's talk about the next thing you're gonna need. You're gonna need these fence picket, I guess that's what they call them, that you would have on the outside of a back deck or something like that. You're just gonna need to get you 3 or 4 of these, because that way you can stagger them on multiple sides and tear it up to where literally you could probably have about 6 chickens off the ground if you wanted to. All right, so here we go. This is the final result. So we got this thing secured into the ground. No, it's not cemented in. This right here has got 2 screws in it, and this got 2 screws in it as well. Now those are those fence picket things I was telling you about, or those back deck pickets, whatever you want to call them. Those are what I was talking about. You can have multiple of these in your actual run if your run's bigger. But between this and this board over here and this other over there, they should have enough room to get about 10 chickens off the ground. And I have 17 chickens overall, maybe 18. 18 chickens overall, 17 hens. Between all that, there should be plenty of room for everybody to be able to walk around finally.